Hello grade 12s, we're going to do another program using functions, and this is the one on page 152, question 1.2, the convert measure in the convert measurement folder. We're going to create a function called convert that's going to receive the number of bytes and the unit of measurement. So it's going to be an integer and a string is going to come into it. So it's the first function that you're writing that's got two things coming in. In fact, the first method that you're writing. Remember, method is the collective noun for procedures and functions. A method can either be a function or it can be a procedure. We are writing functions now, so let's go and write our function convert. It's going to receive two parameters. So let's go put it here. Okay. Function, you've got to write the word function and then convert and then open brackets. So the first thing will be I byte, I'll call it I byte, colon integer. And the second parameter, separated by a semicolon, S, what shall we call it? S unit colon string. But we have to remember that this is a function, so we have to have colon after all those parameters in brackets. We have to colon, and the data type will be a string. It's going to be a string data type. Alright, so that should be fun. Highlight the header, Ctrl-Shift-C to implement it. Right, so what's coming inside here? We must remember what we got. We got the unit of measure and the actual number of bytes for that particular unit, and we have to convert the unit to the number of bytes. It's either KB or MB or GB or TB. So we have to realize it's going to be one of those four. And the bytes have to be converted to that particular unit. So if it's 1,000 bytes, we've got to multiply the bytes by 1,000 to get kilobyte, and so on and so on and so on. So we're going to have a whole lot of if statements. If S unit is equals KB, then we were going to do something. Okay, if S unit is, what is the other one? MB. Then what is it? MB, KB, MB, GB, and TB. GB, then do something, and then TB. Well, then I'm going to have my I bytes is going to be multiplied by whatever the number is, but I'm going to put my answer in I num. Now I bytes is an integer, and we're multiplying by integers, so I num can have an integer variable as well. Will be I byte multiplied by 1,000. Okay, if it's MB, then I byte is going to be multiplied by 1,000 plus 3. 1,000, add 3 noughts, add another 3 noughts, and then add another 3 noughts. Well, that's open right there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay, now thing is, I think we should put an else in between each one, but then you've got to get rid of the semicolon. Now we can't use case because S unit is a string. Okay, so there's no way you can use case unless you go and remove the B from the end of it. Could have done that, I suppose. Here's an alternative way to do it. Could have said, so this is an alternative, okay? We could say case S unit character number 2, S unit character number 1 of K M, oops, K in inverted commas M G and T. So this is just alternative. It's always good to know what alternatives you have to do something. This might be easier, you know, might have been, maybe, who knows. But you can't use the string, you have to use a character of the string. You see, I'm using the first character because we know that the B is always at the end of each one of those, so you can just take the first character and then go and do that. Right, so we've got enum. Okay, so this is your alternative. Right, now we have enum. Okay, enum will be our actual number that we're converting. If you're converting the number of bytes to kilobytes, let's say it's but basically our byte is an integer, I think. Yeah, they said number of bytes is an integer, so fine. An example of well, if we take 1200 and are we converting to kilobytes? Are we actually converting? We're converting to the required unit of measure and the number of bytes and then the unit of measure, yeah. So, I mean, that doesn't make sense because 12 bytes. Oh, we got to divide. My bad. Sorry, we're dividing, not multiplying. Silly me. Silly. Oops. Next thing. Well, we now got to go and how can I say, build our string with enum and then whatever S unit is. That should be easy. So what we're going to do is build our string, and I'm actually going to build the string while I send the result, but okay, fine, let's make a S line string, and S line will be, so I made a local variable called S line, will be equal to int to string enum, join that to a space and join that to whatever S unit is. You see, the unit of measure, S unit. So we can use that, and then we just say result equals S line. Right, we could have just copied that, we just could have just put that into here, result equals, and not have this line at all. We can delete that, but just to show you what we're actually doing, to make it more simpler to understand, build the string and return the string saying result equals. You have to have result equals in your functions, otherwise your function's not going to return anything. You might do all these fancy things in here, but it's not actually going to do anything. Right, so I'm going to delete this lot of code because this is actually much easier to do. Right, now we've got the result equals, fine. What are we going to do next? Write code for the function, create an on-click event where you're going to read the number of bytes from the edit box and the unit of measure, and then call the convert and display the answer inside over here. Should be interesting to see if my calculations are correct. So in this convert measurement button, we're going to receive our input from EDT bytes and from the radio group box. So we can't use the actual items because we have to use either KB, MB, GB or TB. Remember? So we can't actually use that whole string there. So we'll have to use case for our radio group select. First of all, get our integer from EDT bytes. So I'm going to call it a variable inum integer, and I'll say inum equals string to int, get our input, and that's EDT bytes dot text and then we're going to say case RGP. What is the name of the radio group box? RGP select of dot item index, item index of now naught. Then we'll have a string s measure, call it that. We're going to set our s measure to equal to, I think it's KB, and then 1, 2, okay, sorry, no equal sign there, 0, 1, 2, 3. So make use of your, we say naught is KB, MB, GB, TB. Naught is KB, MB, GB, TB. Make use of copy and paste. It saves you a lot of time in exams. Now, what if they didn't make a selection? Else, show message, please select a measurement. I'll just put that in there. They didn't tell us to, but I'll put it in there anyway. By the way, in exams, don't do something that you're not being asked to do. Okay, in this question, they didn't tell us to do that, but I just did it anyway to show you that you can if you want, just to remind you of the else part of a case statement. Because it means that our item index is -1, you know. Right, so we've got our input, we've got the edit box, and we've got the radio group box selections, and now all we have to do is call the function to do the conversion, display the conversion answer. So we're going to call our function at the same time as we display it, mem display. This is going to show you mem display, dot lines dot add, and in brackets we're going to call our convert function, convert, open brackets, and in brackets, can you see a nice tooltip comes in here? Now remember I told you we can use functions enrich edit.lines or memo.lines.add statements, yeah, or you use them on the right hand side of the equal sign or assignment operator. Anyway, so when I write my function, I open brackets. Can you see these tool tips come up here? They call them little tips. They're showing you what must be going next. First of all, I must put an integer variable in there. The actual function convert has got I byte and S unit. But we don't use those words. We've got to use a corresponding variable. I num would be the one that we're going to use. And the next one, can you see that because the process is happy with that one, I num, it's an integer. The next one, what must we put in there? S measure. So where did S measure come from? There it is there. I num came from our edit box. And that is it. And we know convert, what kind of data type does the function convert return? It returns a string. See, it returns colon string. So it might have an integer and string coming in, but it returns a string. Therefore, we do not have to convert the function convert to a string to display it in the memo. And that's that. Okay, why do I have errors? Oh, integer and extended. Oh, I've got a round, guys, round. Round. Round will give us an integer, so then you'll be all good. By the way, when they say extended, they mean, you know, it's a decimal point number. We extended our limit of using integers. Right, number of bytes. Okay, I'll just write 1024. Let's say kilobytes. 1 kilobyte. Megabytes. Naught. Okay. 10. And if you don't make any selection, in fact, what we should really do is clear our what's the name? We need to clear after we please select after this memo. We can actually go and set our RGB select dot item index in dot item. Oh, come on, man. Item index equal to -1, and we can clear our edit box too. And we can set the focus or whatever we want to do, dot clear. That's it. Anyway, draw that by yourself using a function with 2 parameters.